Okay, today's video is going to be another declutter video. So I did declutter my foundations and my concealers. If you want to check out that video, I'll link it below. Today I'm focusing on the rest of my complexion products. So I have powders right here, I have primers, and then over here I have like setting and priming sprays. And then over on the right, I have a couple of random products as well. I really need to cut back a little bit. Looking at this collection, like there are so many products I love and I enjoy using. So I think I'm going to have a little bit more of a difficult time than I typically do. I usually don't have any difficulty decluttering, but there are so many good options in here. That being said, I have too many. Like I can't possibly get to every single product. So I need to go through and remove products that are not my absolute favorites and pass them along to friends and family. I do donate new products, but if it is a used product, I typically pass that along to someone else, unless it's very, very lightly used and I can give it to something like Project Beauty Share. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I don't have a specific number in mind. I just feel like there's too much in here and I want to remove products I'm not using regularly. Okay, let's start with the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. So I have two. I have the original one and then I also have the one that comes with niacinamide in it. I actually prefer this one because I do think it leaves your skin looking extra glowy. So smooth. Foundation applies so beautifully on top of this. This is currently like my #1 primer. But I do want to finish this one up. I don't want to get rid of it because I still enjoy it. They perform very, very similarly. I feel like this one is just like extra smoothing, extra glowy. So honestly, once I use them both up, I'll probably just stick with this one, but I love them. I also have the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer, which e.l.f. does say is the exact same thing as the Power Grip, but I don't know, it feels a little bit different. I feel like the Jelly Pop is maybe slightly thinner. It does have a strong watermelon scent, which I personally enjoy, but I think because I have these two, I am going to part with this one. It's great, honestly, I could use all three of them interchangeably for the most part, but I just don't know that I'm going to get through all of them before they expire. Like this one's a little bit older. Let me move all of the primers down here so I can put the ones I'm keeping in this bin. So I thought I finished up my very last Smashbox Primerizer, but apparently I have a little bit left, thankfully. They did change it up. I think I have like a small version of it somewhere in here. So what's the difference? I think this one technically has maybe like a few additional ingredients in it. They basically perform the same, thankfully. I was so upset when I saw they discontinued this. So after I use this one up completely, I might end up repurchasing the newer version of it, but I do have some drugstore alternatives that perform very, very similarly, which I'll share with you as I get to them. But I love this product. I am going to keep both of these because I'm sure I'll be able to use them up this year. Catrice used to have this primer, which I loved so, so much. This is the Fresh It Up Aqua Fresh Hydro Primer. They recently redid like their entire primer line. Some are identical, some are a little bit different. The new one is a little bit different. This is the Hydrator Plump and Fresh Primer. This is a little bit thicker. Like it has almost a gel type consistency, whereas this one is like a watery gel, kind of like a gel cream moisturizer almost. But it sinks in very quickly. I think it is pretty much the same as the primerizer in my opinion. This one's thicker. It has aloe vera in it, so it almost has like that aloe vera texture, like an aloe vera gel. And it does have like an aloe vera scent. So honestly, I don't love this one. It's not the exact same. I wish they stuck with the same consistency as this. So this is pretty much brand new. I've used it like twice just to kind of see how they compare. I'm going to pass this product along and keep the older one and use this one up fully. Another good alternative, the Hard Candy Sheer Envy Hydrating Primer. This one kind of falls between like the e.l.f. Power Grip and the primerizer. It's not as thin as the primerizer or as sticky as the Power Grip. It definitely has a very hydrating feel to it. It feels really good, very refreshing. It definitely feels hydrating, but I do find that makeup wears fairly well on top of this. So if you don't like the sticky texture of the Power Grip, but you want a hydrating base that does extend the wear of your makeup, this one's a pretty good option. You're not going to get like, I mean, it claims 12-hour wear. I wouldn't say that's the case, but it's not sticky. So it's kind of a good trade-off if you don't want that sticky feel. Another really good alternative to the Smashbox Primerizer, the NYX Hydro Touch. This one is probably more similar than the Hard Candy one, and it feels very similar to the Catrice one. Very thin, very, very hydrating. It leaves your skin feeling really good. So if you don't want to spend the money on the Smashbox Primerizer, you could really go with those other options. The NYX Hydro Touch does have a little bit of like a strong scent though, so keep that in mind. It's kind of like a, I guess, a fresh scent, I would say. I do like these other Catrice primers. So when they redid the line, They redid the matte one as well. This one pretty much feels identical to me. It's very smoothing, very, very mattifying. So if you're looking for a matte primer that doesn't feel or look dry on the skin, this one is perfect. And then if you're looking for a smoothing primer that's not overly mattifying, this one is nice. It kind of reminds me of like the same texture as the Benefit Professional. I haven't used that in years, but back in the day when I did like that, it was nice because it was smoothing, it filled in pores, and it kind of gave your skin like a blurred look, and that's what this does. This is the Milk Makeup Pore Eclipse Primer. You know what? I feel like I could declutter this one because this is basically identical, and I feel like I like this one just a little bit more. They're both smoothing, they both leave your skin matte, but they don't leave your skin looking dry. I feel like this is basically an identical dupe to this one. So I'm going to pass this product along. I'll keep the Catrice one because I feel like, I don't know, I like how this one looks just a little bit more. I do feel like the Catrice one is kind of similar to Cali Ray as well, but I am keeping the Cali Ray one because there's just something about this. This makes your skin look incredibly smooth. It is moisturizing and it is blurring, but it doesn't have like that slippery texture to it. A lot of smoothing and blurring primers are too slippery. They remind me of like the original Smashbox Photo Finish primer, and my makeup does not dry down and it ends up moving everywhere. Now, that doesn't happen with this one. I love this one. You know what? I think I'm actually going to declutter this one from Tula. I like this primer, but you know what? I think this is just a little bit too dark for me these days. I'm pretty sure Tula has this primer in different shades, and I don't know if they did when I first tried this one. So as you blend this one in, it ends up looking a little bit darker. Like it comes out white, but it has more of like a bronze effect on my skin. Here's what it looks like. When I first used this primer, I was using self-tanner fairly often. I rarely use self-tanner these days, so I feel like this just doesn't end up matching my skin tone very, very much, even though I love this. Eventually, I might go and see if I can find like a better shade for me because I'm pretty sure this does come in different shades. It's a really nice base. It has like this beautiful blurring quality to it. It feels really moisturizing on the skin. Like you can just see how pretty it looks, but it's a little bit too dark for me. So I'm going to give this to my mom. These two Essence primers are so good. They launched these, I think like last spring or last summer, and they are amazing, either one of them. Okay, again, a good alternative to the Smashbox Primerizer. I take back what I said, like this is the best alternative to it because it really has like that very thin serum-like texture to it. This one comes with a dropper, so it's a little bit of like a different, or it's different packaging, but they kind of market it as like a skincare makeup product all in one. I just use it as a primer. It's very, very hydrating. The only difference is this one has a strong blueberry scent, which is interesting. If you don't like scented products, skip this, but it does a really good job at priming your skin before you go in with foundation. This is a really good option too. This one's more glowy. This is the Hello Good Stuff Glow Serum Primer. A lot of people say it's a good dupe to the Glow Recipe Dewdrops. This gives you a glow without any sort of like shimmer. It's very hydrating, super smoothing. Whenever I wear this under a matte foundation, it is like the perfect combo because it keeps my skin from looking overly matte. So I love that. Essence did come out with these two new primers this year. The Poreless Partner Primer, which is like a mattifying blurring option, and then also the Hydro Hero. I don't like this one. My foundation ends up breaking apart. This might be like the only product I don't like in this declutter video, and I just have it in here because it is a little bit newer, but I don't find that it's particularly hydrating. And on top of that, my foundation ends up breaking apart, which is really strange for a hydrating primer because that doesn't typically happen to me. So I'm going to declutter this one. I am going to keep this one, although I do find that it's kind of similar to Catrice, but I am enjoying it. I feel like it works well. It's a nice newer option from the drugstore. I think it's under $5. This product is from Say. This is their Glowy Super Gel. It's really beautiful. You can use this in a couple of different ways. You can mix it with foundation. You can use it as a primer. You can use it as a liquid highlighter. I typically use it as a primer because it is very, very glowy. So I think it is best used in that way for my preferences, but it's gorgeous. I love using it. It's very lightweight, so I don't find that it changes the product or changes the texture of your products a ton if you do want to mix it in, but it looks so pretty on the skin. Definitely intense. This product's from Tarte. This is really nice. It's their Shape Tape Glow Wand. It's very similar. Let me actually swatch these next to each other. I like the Shape Tape Glow Wand because it's a little bit more similar to the shades of my complexion products, so it almost looks a little bit more natural when I mix it in. So on the left is Tarte and then on the right is Say. So you can see there is a big difference. Say doesn't really have any pigment. So if you want something that's kind of more of like a clear base and just like actual glow, definitely go with Say. But I like Tarte because it does give your skin like a very smooth, blurred appearance because there is actual pigment to it. So I just have the shade Light. I think I probably will end up purchasing the full-size version of this. It's different than the Glow Wand because it's a little bit, it's more smoothing. And even though it is glowy, I feel like it almost blends out and just looks a little bit more smooth and natural on the skin. So I love that product. You know what? I think it is time to part with this product. You guys, if you've been around for a while, I have raved about this product for years and years and years. And it's just not something I used very much last year. It's the e.l.f. Oil Control Primer Mist. So my skin type has changed a little bit. I mean, it's definitely still oily, but it's not quite as oily as it used to be. So maybe that's why I don't reach for such intensely mattifying products, although this is not. If you're looking for a product that helps to control oil, that's more of a hydrating feel, this is nice. Like part of me is like, should I really get rid of it? But you know what? I haven't used it very much in an entire year, and I don't imagine that's going to change very much. Usually if I do want more of a matte base, I'll reach for the Catrice primer because this is oil controlling, but it's also smoothing. This basically feels like water. I don't spray it. I kind of spray some into my hand and press it into my skin, and it dries. It feels like you're applying a setting spray or a priming spray, but I do find that my skin is not quite as oily throughout the day when I'm using this regularly. But I don't know, I guess I feel like over the past year I've kind of embraced the oiliness a little bit. That and the fact that my skin type is changing, it's not quite as oily, so I think I'm going to part with that product. This is from Mented. It is the Perfect Prime Primer Stick. It's basically like a smoothing primer in stick form, so you can, I don't know that you'll really see a difference if I swatch it to my hand, but you can basically target where you want to blur the skin. You can't really even see it on my hand, but basically if you deal with really large pores or you're dealing with a lot of texture, this is nice because you can just kind of go over those areas with the primer and just specifically target them. The last product in here is from the brand Dew of the Gods. This is so nice. I got this in a BoxyCharm. It is the Tahitian Breakfast Dewy Collagen Face Primer. It basically feels like a really luxurious moisturizer, but like a thinner formula. It's very refreshing on the skin, really smoothing. I do love this. I feel like I will use this a lot during the springtime. I kind of forgot about it, so I need to pull it out and put it in my everyday makeup drawer. Actually, I have a few more primers over here. I have the Makeup Revolution Line Fix Under Eye Primer. This is such a good product. I never really thought that I needed like a separate primer under the eyes, and you don't if we're being completely honest here. But if you deal with fine lines under your eyes like me, I've always had like very obvious lines under my eyes. This product is so nice. The concealer just glides on top so evenly, so smoothly. So I am keeping that. I do have 3 of the e.l.f. Putty Primers. I do not need all 3 of these, so I'm actually going to declutter the Cookies and Dreams one. This one is actually like a little bit different than the original. I feel like it's extra creamy, extra smooth, but again, I don't need both of them. I'm going to keep the original one on hand and the matte one on hand. I feel like they're nice to have. I like the original one. I feel like it just creates a nice smooth base. They actually have a bunch of versions of the Putty Primer now. They have one that has like vitamin C. They have one, I think, that has salicylic acid if you're acne prone. The matte one is my go-to. I think this one does a good job at smoothing the skin and keeping your skin really matte, but it's very lightweight. So I like the matte one and I like the regular one. I like to keep them both on hand, just kind of depending on what I'm in the mood for. So I started off with 27 primers. I decluttered 7, which comes out to be 26%. So I got rid of a quarter of them. That's not quite as much as I usually get rid of, but I'm okay with that because I do really enjoy everything else that I have in here. And it is something, they are products I use fairly regularly, even though I do have a lot of options. So I have 20. So I mean, if I used a new one every day, by the end of the year, I could use each product 20 times, which I feel like is a lot. So I'm sure I'll actually be able to get through quite a few of these by the end of the year because I do use primer pretty much every time I wear makeup. Over here, I have setting sprays and priming sprays, and then I'll do powders because I only have a few of these. My favorite priming spray is this one, the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip. It does such a good job at prepping your face because it hydrates the skin and locks your makeup into place so well. This is such a good product. I love it. I'm going to keep this one. And then I have 2 other products that I kind of use as priming sprays. I'm trying to decide which one to keep. Like, these are very similar. I feel like these have been good replacements for the Smashbox Primer Water for me. You know what? I think I'll keep this one. This one I got in a BoxyCharm. It's by the brand Toy Factory. It is the Super Set Hyaluronic Setting Spray, hyaluronic acid setting spray. I feel like you can use this as a setting spray or a priming spray, which is why I'll keep this one. I also feel like the mist on this one is better than the CoverGirl one. This one is nice and it is a really good affordable option, but if I'm being really picky, I think I like this one better, so I'll pass this product along to my mom. I only have 2 setting spray formulas in my collection. I have the Urban Decay All Nighter, and then I also have this one from Milani, the Make It Last setting spray. I am going to keep this one. I like to have a drugstore option and a high-end option, especially if I only have 2 products, and I think this does such a good job. My go-to really is the All Nighter. I don't know why I have 4 right now. I have 2 travel sprays. This one's 1 fluid ounce. This one is 0.5 fluid ounces. I'm going to keep the smaller one just because when I am traveling, if I want to include something in my makeup bag, this is a little bit more ideal. And then I have 2 full-sized bottles. This one's pretty empty actually. I feel like I could actually just condense these and just put them in the same bottle and that will be perfect. Let's move on to powder. I need to make a little bit more progress in this section because my powders used to fit in one of these and then I feel like they moved into 2. So I would like to cut these down a little bit. So this one I am going to declutter. This is from Pure Cosmetics. It is the 4-in-1 Pressed Mineral Makeup in the shade Vanilla. I keep wanting to like this because I feel like so many people like it and I get so many recommendations to try it. So in my mind, I'm like, I have to love it. Everyone loves it, but I just don't end up reaching for this very much. You can use it as a powder foundation. You can use it to set your makeup into place. It just looks a little bit dry on my skin. And I used to really love this, but my skin has changed a little bit. So I am going to declutter this. I feel like I've barely used it, so I can pass that product along to someone else. This is the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Powder. I have the shade 120 Fair. I do really like this product. It's very, very mattifying, so I think it's going to be more ideal for me during the summertime. I've been using it off and on since the fall, but again, I feel like now that it's winter, it's just not, or I mean, we're heading into spring. Spring for me in the Northeast does not come until like April, so I feel like I'll probably end up pulling this back out in the summertime, but I don't want to declutter it because I think it is a nice mattifying option. Another nice mattifying option is this one, the Essence All About Matte. I usually go through one of these every single summer. I guess last summer I did not use mine up fully. So again, I will pull this one back out in the summer. It is super mattifying. I really do like it when my skin is more oily. This is a little bit newer to me, the Essence Powder Foundation. I was kind of late to the game with this one, but I think it's really nice. Actually, you know what? Before I talk about this, I'm going to declutter this powder foundation because I have found other alternatives I like better. Urban Decay's Stay Naked The Fix. I have the shade 30YW. I loved this. I mean, you can tell it is well loved. I think I actually used one of these up fully. But now that I've discovered some more affordable alternatives, this is throwing off the focus. Now that I've discovered some more affordable alternatives, I just don't reach for this formula as much. I feel like it doesn't have the coverage I want and it looks a little bit dry on my skin. So it's time to part with this product because the more affordable alternatives that I like are this one from Essence and then another one from e.l.f. This is really smoothing, very lightweight. It looks so pretty as a powder foundation or as a setting powder. I like this one as a setting powder more than the e.l.f. powder foundation. I pretty much only wear this one as like an actual powder foundation because the coverage is pretty intense. I have 2 shades. I have Light 205N, which I do feel like is a perfect match for me during the winter. And then I also have Light 210N, which is a little bit dark, but during the summer, this one is more ideal. So I kind of go back and forth or I mix them together, but this is such a gorgeous powder. It's very smoothing, really, really pretty on the skin, and the coverage is intense, especially for a powder foundation. This is a powder foundation as well. This one's from JCat. It's the Aquassurance Powder Foundation. I have the shade Ivory. I do really like this, but I feel like the shade is just a little bit too yellow toned for me. It does have good coverage. It's very smooth on the skin. It stays in place well. I don't know why it's not focusing, but I do think I like the Essence one and the e.l.f. one just a little bit better, and I feel like I don't need to have a ton of powder foundations in my collection, so I'm going to declutter this product. The Flower Beauty Light Illusion Powder, I have the shade Porcelain. It's such a beautiful, like, smoothing powder. I think it's very, very similar to the Charlotte Tilbury powder, but a fraction of the price. So if you're looking for like that beautiful, smooth, blurred finish, this is perfect. Kind of jumping around here, but I think I'm going to declutter. Are these the same? Yeah, I have 2 of the NYX Can't Stop, Won't Stop powders. I think I'm actually going to declutter these. I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe I should wait until the summer no. I think I'm going to declutter these. These are very, very mattifying. Was it last year or the year before? I was using it a ton. It's very mattifying, very, very smoothing, but I just don't go for such a matte powder these days. I usually like something a little bit less intense like the Flower Beauty one. If you are looking for an incredibly matte powder that does have pigment, that again is really smoothing on the skin, you'll love this. It really is perfect for that. But these days I don't usually want something so intensely matte, so I'm going to declutter these two. I feel like the Flower Beauty Pretty Fresh powder is very similar to that, but not quite as mattifying. Like this one's a little bit lighter on the skin. I have the shade Light 7 and then also Fair 4. I'm going to keep Fair 4 and then declutter Light 7. Again, this isn't really my go-to powder right now. It's just so strange how preferences can change so fast, because this one and the NYX were my favorites. But again, I think it's because my skin type has changed. So I'm not usually reaching for something quite as mattifying. But I do want to keep this one on hand because it's a little bit less intense than the NYX one. The LYS Triple Fix powder is beautiful, so lightweight, so pretty on the skin. This will always be in my collection because I just don't have anything like quite so light and natural, and I feel like this pairs perfectly with cream products, so I'm keeping this one. Again, I don't know why I have two of these in my collection. The Urban Decay All Nighter. This is another favorite of mine during the summertime. This keeps your makeup in place all day long. Like it says that it's waterproof, and I feel like there's truth to that. If you have extremely oily skin, or if you're going to be very sweaty, or it's incredibly humid, like this is the powder to try. It's very, very lightweight, really pretty on the skin. Typically, I have gone through like an entire compact of this powder every single summer too, but last summer I didn't. So I'm going to keep one. I'm going to pass the other one along. I have a feeling like this summer I won't necessarily go through this product, the CoverGirl one and the Essence one, so I feel like one is good. This product from Catrice is very similar to Urban Decay, but more lightweight. So I did use this one a lot during the summer as well. I'm going to hang on to this one. It's not quite as intense, so I feel like this is kind of what I go for more often. And I was using this to set my under eye concealer in place during the summer, and I feel like that worked well. I recently tried this, the Bare Minerals Original Mineral Veil. It's actually so nice. I feel like this has been perfect for the winter time. Well, I mean, again, like winter heading into spring, because it pairs really well with cream products. It lightly sets your face, and it looks really natural, like very, very smooth on the skin. It's very, very similar to LYS, but I feel like this one has almost like more of a smoothing quality to it. So I love this. I am going to hang on to it. I just repurchased this recently. I haven't even used it yet. It's the Essence Brighten Up Banana Powder. I was kind of wanting just like a brighter, almost like yellow toned powder for under the eyes, and just for like balancing out some of my cheek products. So I'm going to keep this. One more pressed powder, the Too Faced Primed and Poreless Pore Blurring and Mattifying Face Powder. I was really into this for a minute. It's very smoothing. Mine looks kind of rough. I don't think I need to keep this because I do think the Bare Minerals one and the LYS one are kind of similar to this, and I feel like those are the two formulas I've been using lately. But I do think this one did a great job. I was using it under the eyes to set my concealer, and I felt like it was lightweight, but it did keep my concealer from creasing. I have to part with some of them. I can't keep them all. So that one I will declutter. I recently tried this product. I've been using it fairly regularly. The Huda Beauty Easy Bake Loose Baking and Setting Powder. I have the shade Pound Cake. I do like this. I think it looks so good on the skin. Very, very smooth. I've gotten recommendations to try this for such a long time, and I'm glad I finally did because I'm really into loose powder right now, and I feel like this is the perfect smoothing powder, but it does lock my makeup into place well. I do think I'm going to declutter this one from Rare Beauty. This is is this pink toned? I've been wanting to try like a light pink powder under the eyes, but I never reach for this one. I just feel like there are other setting powders I like better. This is just their setting powder in the shade Light. There's something about it. Like I feel like it doesn't go well with my skin tone. And I mean, I have been reaching for like more neutral foundations overall, but this one's like a little bit too pink. Yeah, I don't know why in my mind I thought I had like a yellowy version of this. No, it's pink. And now I remember why I don't use it very much. I would love to be on like the pink under eye trend. I just feel like it doesn't really, when I do that and when I use that powder specifically, like something in my makeup looks a little bit off. I do still have the Too Faced Peach Powder. This was my favorite powder for years. I still love it. I just feel like I've been able to find other powders I like as much, which is nice because they discontinued this. Although some of you guys tell me that you find it randomly, which is nice because I know so many of you guys love this powder as much as I do, and I still have that one. That might be my last one. It's very smoothing. It was just like the perfect smoothing blurring powder. But I will say these days I usually like something a little bit lighter. So I like that I have it on hand for days when I want like a super flawless looking complexion, but I'm glad that it's not like the only powder I feel like I can reach for. The e.l.f. Halo Glow is very pretty. Again, very light, but if you want a light powder in like a loose powder version, that one is perfect. I'm going to declutter the e.l.f. Matte Setting Powder. I like the Halo Glow better. They're both like really nice, lightweight, finely milled powders, but the Halo Glow looks better on the skin for sure. It's very natural looking, whereas this one is matte, and I have other matte powders. The Milani Conceal and Perfect Powder, I love this so much, but it's a little bit too dark for me. Whenever I wear it, I feel like it works, but then I go outside and I feel like my face is darker than the rest of my body, so I wish they had like a lighter shade and a deeper shade, or they had like more of like a translucent shade, but I do find that even though this one is called translucent, it's kind of dark. So just keep that in mind. I am going to keep it because I feel like it will probably be fine during the summer. It's just a little bit too dark during the winter. Okay, and the last one I have is this one. I haven't actually even opened this. I've heard good things about this, so I've kept it in here. But since it is brand new, I'm just going to donate it. It's the Ciate London Everyday Vacay Setting Powder. I'm pretty sure this was in my last declutter, and I'm pretty sure I said I was actually going to try it because a ton of people love this. But do not leave me a comment telling me to try this, you guys, because I can't have another powder open. I don't want to be tempted. I'm just going to part with it and donate this product because I have enough powder. So don't try to convince me to keep it. I started with 27 powders and I got rid of 11. So that is 40%, which is perfect. That's usually, again, where I kind of end up. It just didn't happen with primers this time around. So I'm almost done. I just have a couple of random products over here. I have 2 bronzing products. These actually do work well if you do like a bronzing drop to mix in with your foundation or to wear before you apply foundation. But I just don't reach for these products very much. I think the Ciate London one is a little bit better. It's definitely a little bit darker, and the Cali Ray one's a little bit more natural. This one will definitely darken your foundation, add like that bronzed glow, or you can use it before foundation. Same with Cali Ray. Cali Ray is like, I guess, a little bit thinner. So if you want something more natural and subtle, I would go with Cali Ray. And if you want something a little bit more intense, I would go with Ciate London, but I just don't use these. I'm not like a big, what's it called? Like, I'm not big into applying bronzer drops to my face. I actually tried those Drunk Elephant bronzer drops a few years ago before they were really popular. And again, like, they looked okay, but I'm not really into that these days. So I'm going to declutter those. And then for some reason I have 2 of these, the LA Girl Mix In Pigments. I have 2 of the blue shades. I'm going to keep one and declutter one. I need to purchase the lighter one, like the white one, to mix into some of my foundations that are a little bit too dark. Okay, so now that I've decluttered everything, I'm going to do a final count. Here's a look at everything I kept. I actually started off with 66 products and I decluttered 23, which is 35%. So in the end, that's actually pretty good since I normally do declutter about 40%. I feel like 35% is close. These are all of the products that I'm decluttering. So in this section, there are products I like, and I probably could convince myself to keep some of these powders, some of these primers, but I feel like it was good. My goal was basically just to kind of condense things a little bit. And like I said, I normally do keep my foundations and concealers in this drawer as well. So now there's room to like move everything over. I'll be able to close my drawer without having an issue, and it feels good just to have products I know I love. And honestly, I think I'll be able to use up a good amount of these by the end of the year as well. A few primers, a few powders, so overall I'm happy with it. If you want to check out my foundation and concealer declutter, I'll put that on the screen for you so you can click it and watch it if that's something you're interested in. Otherwise, I have a ton of declutter videos, so I'll also link my playlist for you on the screen. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye.